Hi, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Happy Saturday. I gave myself a goal when I got the new catalog and my new order that I would do 2 weeks of videos and 2 weeks of tutorials with new things. So I'm on the final stretch. It was a little bit of a goal. So I have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I'll probably do one on Wednesday. And then I'll go back to my regular 3 tutorials a week because I'm doing one every day is a little bit to keep up with. But it's a fabulous catalog, so much fun stuff. So I know you're enjoying the tutorials. I do have, in fact, I thought I don't have my catalog up here. I can't show it to them because it's downstairs because I'm preparing my first online class when the catalog goes live, and you're going to want to do it. So be watching for the details for that to come out. So I thought, oh, I don't have my catalog to show them. And then I thought, yes, I do. I have my boxes of them. So if you're my customers, I know some of you got them yesterday because I got messages and text messages and emails, and people were so excited because some of you are getting them. So they went out on Thursday. If you have purchased from me since February, then you should have it. If you've purchased from me since February and you don't have it by Monday or Tuesday, some of y'all got it priority mail and some of you got it first class, depending on if you had the class stuck in with it. I was able to send them first class if you didn't. But if for some reason you think I missed you, then let me know on Monday or Tuesday if you didn't get one. If you want one, then I'll do my next mailing of them on Tuesday. All you have to do is purchase any size order on my website, use my host code, and then I will stick one in the mail to you, and you'll have it sometime Wednesday, Thursday of next week. So today I'm going to use the Birds and Branches set. I have used the dies, but I haven't used the set yet. So let me show you a couple of things. I'm past the point where I can show you all of the tutorials that I've done because that's taking too long. I've done too many cards now. But I do have a playlist that's 2021 catalog. So you can go over on YouTube and hit that playlist, and they're all in there. That way you can see if you've missed any of them. I'm going to be using the hoops again today. So this tutorial's up if you like the hoops. They're going to be fabulous. It opens up a whole new realm of possibilities in your cards. Then this is the latest tutorial. So I haven't shown you this one in a preview. Here comes my husband. So he may talk to me. I told him I was filming, but you know, their memory sometimes. And then this one is the Taste of Textures, and I'm going to use this embossing folder, which I've only used the day that I took it out of the box because then my daughter borrowed it from me, and I've only just gotten it back. So I used it the very first day that I literally got my box. She took it, and now I've got it back. So I'm going to use it twice. Now he's washing dishes. So that's nice. He's probably just putting his breakfast dishes up. We're actually going to my daughter's house today for our Mother's Day brunch. Our state, you can go back and see family. So last week we had our huge family gathering for Mother's Day, and today we're doing brunch at her house. So I'm filming this before we leave so I can edit it in the car. So I'm going to use the stamps today for this. It's a very vintage looking card. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to turn out before I got it done, but I'm pleased with it. It makes me wish my grandmother was still alive because she would really have liked this card. So I've got seaside, sand, and then white that are the colors that we're working with. So let's stamp first so that we can cut it out. So we're going to use the little bird that comes with. And I have Sahara Sand. There's no black on this card. It's a nice soft color palette. So I'm going to stamp. You can see I'm just using scrap pieces of paper. This card doesn't take much paper to stamp on. So we got the bird and then his tiny little bird feet. You can hear the birds outside my window too. So they're giving us some background noise. So we've got the bird, his feet, and then I did pull a greeting. This one doesn't have any sentiments. And this is out of Blossoms in Bloom, which is another new set. And I'm gonna be going back to it maybe tonight for tomorrow's card. That's the problem when you promise a card every day, is the weekends kind of get in the way. So last week I got caught up before, whoops, well, it's the problem when you can't put your head over the top of your card, but you know, there's 2 sides to every paper. So this set I may do tonight or tomorrow. It does help a little bit that it's raining all the time here because you know it's spring. So it looks like we might have periods of nice weather today. So I've done this in the Sahara Sand, and you can color with your blends. You just don't want to smear because you can ruin it. And this has that really pretty stippling, so I don't want to take all of that away, but I do want to give this bird some definition. So I have my Seaside Spray blends and my suede blends, and then the gray granite. If you watched the other video when I did just the dies, the bird eyes kind of freak me out. So they need to have a little bit of definition. So I just took the bullet tip and just added a tiny, I didn't want it black because I don't want a black eye to freak me out on the bird. So just a tiny bit of the gray. And then we're just gonna do a little bit of coloring on here. Let me move this to here so I don't go onto my, I'm just gonna leave the feet as is. And then I'm just gonna take the bullet tips so I can kind of control where I put just a little bit of color. Because again, I don't wanna ruin that pretty stipple. So it'll cover up a little bit of it, but not all the way. And I'm just gonna kind of go where it's dark on here. So I have a little bit of the light. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the dark. And it does dry lighter than what it looks like it's gonna be on here. I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm kind of like stippling with it. Like I'm not adding huge strokes of color until I'm done. I did go back once it was all mounted and I added a little bit more. So now take your brush tip of the light. Just kind of blend that because you know we're using blend. And then I'm going to use my dark Seaside. And this is white, so you can add more of that in there. Get a little bit of blue just up in his, you know, birds are easy because God just gave them color kind of all over the place, kind of mishmashy, so you don't really even have to know where you're going. And then I'm gonna take this, the light Seaside and kind of go everywhere. Not everywhere, because I don't want everywhere to have a hint of blue, but a little bit's okay. And then go back again with your light suede. And then blend out any place where there's lines of dark. And if it goes into where the blue is, that's okay, because again, birds don't have theirs exactly in one little spot. Like there's not a blue spot and a white spot. And as it dries, it kind of gives it some nice definition. So we'll let that dry. And then I will tell you that once mine was all mounted on the card, I added a little bit more. So we'll see if this one's dark enough now. So now we just have to cut it all out and mount it all together. So first I have two pieces with the texture folder. Let's switch my machine this way. I can't wait till we get the new machine. For one, you know, I'm a fan of white, and this black machine on my table, it's never done it for me, but you know, we work with what we have. So here's the new folder, and it looks, if you follow me, you know I like the subtle folder. It's my favorite. And if you have crinkled up cardstock, or if it fell off the table, or if your cat's jumped on it and it gets crinkly, then the subtle folder has always been my go-to because it just makes the paper look more expensive and it takes out all those bends. Well, this is going to do the same thing. And I think you can also like put it on the inside of your card and write on it because it just gives it a little bit of texture. So that's why it's in the Touch of Texture suite. It just gives it a little touch of texture. So you can see it gives it a touch more than the subtle. It's not as subtle as the subtle, but it's a fun carpet, sweater, that kind of textile feel. So I'm also going to run the one through that's going to go on the inside of our card. And remember, if you have this machine, you're going to need the blue plate or you're going to need to put a shim, and always go through your machine with the fold first. Otherwise you chance breaking your machine. I mean, breaking your folder, because it snaps when it goes through there. So if you've ever had problems with this busting, it's because you're sending them through not fold first. So we have those. And then I'm gonna take, let's do this piece. Now, these, I love the look. They're never my, where'd I put the rest of my pieces? They're never my favorite ones to work with because they just fit. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of having to go through speed bump. Again, not great for your machine. And it also, these just fit, so that you have to be really careful and you have to be perfect. So fold your card in half. If you don't fold it in half now, then you're not going to know where the half was later, because it's going to take the edge off your card. So on this machine, if you have this one, you need to go, I'm going to get a newer plate, fewer cuts in it, right here in the center. So put where you're going to cut in the center, make sure everything's lined up right here. Put this, and see what I mean? It has to go through. If you don't put that so it goes through, then you can break your die. So put that, so these are right here, and this is right in the highest point of the machine. And you know, I don't like to go back and forth on a machine, but I thought this one cut better if I went back and forth. So make sure it's straight in the middle. And you're gonna hear the horrible speed bump sound that you never hear on my things, because I always tell you not to go speed bump, but here we go. See that? You don't want to ever hear that. But on these, you don't have a choice, because you can't go crooked, because it can't go crooked on the card. And on this one, I found it did help to go straight back. And there's the speed bump again. But see, this is just fitting. So you don't have any other option. But it gives a beautiful look. So when you have to, you have to. And we'll pop all those out in a second. And then we just need our bird and its little feet. I love that the tiny little feet have a die. And they're like, if you have our dinosaur, some of our dies come, so this piece up here gives you something to glue on. And this has a glue piece, an adhesive part. Because when you have those tiny little things, then you need something at the top that will go underneath your pattern so you can attach them. And these just take, obviously, one. You don't even hear that. That's what you should hear when you go through a machine, is nothing. And here's what I mean about see, it gives you this little piece here that you can stick your adhesive on, because if it didn't give you that, there would be no way to attach those. So now let's just stick this thing together. Don't want to lose my baby feet. These tiny little dies are easy to lose track of. Let's get this and roll these out. And see how pretty that is? So it's really pretty. It's just, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, because that's the only way it's gonna fit. Okay. And see, if you didn't fold that in half before you put it through your machine, then you're not gonna know where your half is. And we're gonna take this piece here. And I'm gonna use fuse, and I will tell you that we don't have fuse, and we haven't had it for a long time, but we do have a new adhesive in the catalog that's called Seal 2. We don't have snail anymore. But seal, there's a snail option and then a like fuse option. For what we're doing on this card, you do need the fuse. So I've got this. See how pretty that is? And that just that little bit of texture, but you can write on it. So pretty. So let's take this. We're gonna take the rings. And I had a lot of questions after I did my card with the ring before. So they're flat, like they're flat. They're flatter than a dimensional. They're not a whole lot thicker than paper, probably 3 sheets of paper. So they're flat. They're tiny bit flexible, so they're not gonna break in the mail. They're not, like, they look like an earring, but earrings are round. Like, this is definitely flat. They're a ton of fun. You're gonna have a lot of fun working with them, because they're just gonna give you a different option than what we've had in the past. So I have the Seaside Spray scalloped linen ribbon, which is a carryover from last year. So you just need a little piece of it. This is gonna be a huge happiness to those of you who don't like to tie ribbon, because there's no tying on this. So you're gonna take your ribbon and just pull it through here. And then this is why you need the fuse, because snail isn't strong enough to hold this. You can use green glue, but then you gotta wait for it to dry. And our Seal 2 is supposed to be a little bit stronger than fuse, so that will be even nicer. So seal that together. You wanna leave this little loopy part, because we want a little bit of movement on this card. And then just decide kind of like where you want it to be. And we don't have a whole lot going on this card. Like I said, it's simple. So you don't have to really figure out exactly where. So then kind of flip this over and put some more fuse here. And bend this over. So now that's all you had to do to adhere this. So when we put it on here, I want to make sure that right here where the ribbon is, it's going to hold it really well. So before you put adhesive anywhere else, just make sure that that ribbon's going to stay there. Again, snail doesn't hold it quite so well. The green glue is a fabulous option if you don't have the fuse. It just takes longer to dry. So now take this. You're going to pull this down. And then stick this on here. Oops, before you lay it down, because fuse does stick. Pull that off. Guys, sometimes when you film, because you can't put your head right over it, you gotta be really careful. Because nobody wants to see the top of my head, especially today because I still have my jammies on. There we go. It's not perfectly straight, but it's good enough. So then you have this little flippy here. And again, I don't want it all to be, this is why we left this. I want some movement to this. So just take your fuse, or again, green glue if you have it, but every stage of this is going to take a tiny bit of waiting time with the green glue. You might be able to do it with glue dots. It's not going to be as secure. So then you're just going to take this and adhere that. And then look, you have this fun little movement. It's not gonna move this much in just a second when we put the bird on, because she's gonna kind of stabilize it. But it's not, you don't have to glue this down. There's not any ugly glue holding your hoop in place. It's all just stuck with some ribbon. How fun is that? Let's cut out our little happy birthday. You can use a paper trimmer if you're severely bothered by things being perfectly straight. But we're going for the vintage look. And I'm vintage. And when I started with Stampin' Up in 1995, we did not have very many things that let us cut straight. So we used our scissors. And we didn't think twice about it because that's what we had. So if you cut real close to it, it's really hard for it to look crooked. So take your little feet and their little tiny adhesive part. I'm just gonna lay it on here. Whoops. And grab some snail and see that piece there. Before I really hold it, press it, I want to make sure that it's where I want the feet to be. And then once they're there, just kind of press it down. Now I need some dimensionals. I'm going to put 2. And then put this again where you kind of want it. And then when you put her on, she's going to keep the hoop from swinging everywhere. Like there's still movement, but it's not going to swing all over your card. How fun is that? Is that just not super fun? And of course, I chose vintage soft colors, but you could do this in colors of spring or summer. The set comes with flowers, so you can add some really bright colors. I just went with this because I was kind of going for the vintage feel. And then let's just take the happy birthday. This label look is really on trend right now, which I like it because it doesn't mean that I have to go find another punch or another die. I just add that little thing. And then I looked at all of I thought about the champagne rhinestones. I thought about a bunch of the different little things that we have. But since I was going for vintage, let's just pull out the pearls. Like I said, my grandmother would have loved this card. And just always add 3 when you're using embellishments, or an odd number. Because if you add 2, then it just looks crooked and your eye doesn't know where to go. That's an art tip. And there we go. I think she looks a little better. My first bird was a little light. So at this point, I just went back and added something. Oh, look, the birds are chirping. They approve. I feel like Snow White. have the birds help us for the assist today in my little video. So there you go. Have a great weekend. And I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's card may be even simpler as I try to get through the weekends with y'all and giving you a card. But I did consider stamping the birds on the inside to match, and perhaps, oh, I did forget one little tip, to give a little bit of color here. But you know, I want it to be done and I need to go get ready to go to brunch. So the inside of the card, these are blank, but by all means, feel free to take the set and add something of your own to the inside. But there you go. I hope you like it. I hope that you find some fun and unique ways to use these fun hoops. These are going to be a lot of fun. Have a great day. Bye.